Wow. Hello. This is the World Cup Diary, the early hours of the morning in Miami, after what was an incredible World Cup game between Argentina and Cape Verde. It was one of those games that was probably sold again as this novelty aspect. And you walk into the stadium this evening, you see Pico Lopes and Messi side by side on the big screen, picked out as star players of your respective teams. And I think, wow, like maybe that's the story. Maybe that's going to be the thing you're going to focus on from the night. That little snapshot. Um, but no, even at half time, there was a few words between Pico and Messi, which I think was clarified later to do with Pico, I think, just sort of putting his hands on Messi and Messi barking at him in Spanish and a bit of a back and forth around that. But no, the story was the game. The story was a game that really, like one of the games of the tournament, probably an all-time moment with Sidney Lopez Cabral's equaliser in extra time. The second time Cape Verde came from behind. And if you look at the picture, Mundial magazine put up a photograph and you'll see Carlos and Judie, Pico's parents, in the background celebrating. That was a moment. And then unfortunately for Cape Verde, it's ended up in a 3-2 defeat after extra time. A concession from a corner. But honestly, the surreal nature in the stadium, it was an Argentine-dominated stadium, apart from pockets of Cape Verde fans who actually managed to make their voice heard in extra time, because I think the Argentines were that shell-shocked and they were crying for the whistle at the end against Cape Verde, which is incredible. But look, you don't need to hear too much from me today. I think that we're going to have some video here from Pico firstly, and then we're going to have some family stuff after. But yeah, this was Pico coming through the mix zone afterwards. It was a kind of a thing again where he was speaking to us and to a couple of people, and Messi was doing his sort of press stuff around the corner. So again, I suppose there was that overlapping tale between them. But yeah, look, Pico, just here's a selection of his thoughts after. He was quite emotional, trying to sort of summarise his overall feelings.
What's it like in the dressing room after that? Because obviously I'm sure there's pride, but there's all sorts of emotions, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's mixed. It's still quite fresh. We came so close to pushing the current world champions all the way, yeah, a little bit disappointed, I suppose, how we conceded some of the goals, especially from set pieces. Like, we were quite strong at that, but we showed a great character, and I think we've shown that throughout this tournament, that we're more than capable of competing against some of the best teams, and that was our goal when we came here, so we can be proud of that.
When you went 3-2 down, you looked like maybe the stronger, the fitter team at the end of the game. Did you feel that? Did you feel it was still there for you when you conceded?
Yeah, look, the game was about moments, and then look, when you score a goal as good as Sydney has, it's hard not to feel that sort of lift and motivation it gives you, and to say no, we're right there, and we had probably a little bit of chances again to get an equaliser, and it just didn't fall for us, But yeah, look, we showed today our defence and our attacking. Bosnia again was amazing. There's not many people who stopped the best person in the world, the best player in the world from 3 yards out, and then his composure on the ball was different class. Yeah, look, we showed some really good stuff today, and when we take stock, we're something to be proud of.
So yeah, that was Pico, and he got a little emotional after just speaking about his journey of 10 years ago, wanting to be a full-time footballer when he was part-time at Bows, and how he'd got to this stage now, and I guess wanting another taste of it. But he's 34, and there is obviously this sort of horrible sense of this was a moment for these players, and they want it to last forever naturally. And it just doesn't last forever. I think he's probably going to, hopefully, to be confirmed, maybe go back to Cape Verde for their homecoming. That's not clarified just yet, but as it is a moment in time, and obviously I think naturally enough the emotions after is suddenly realising this is it. But he has been great with his time, I will say. Pico and his family, everyone's got to probably hear contributions from his family, and again, very kindly, myself and David Snade, who's here as well, the two Irish journalists here, we were invited back to the Cape Verde Hotel, and we got to chat to some of it was sort of a coming together of all the different characters. We had the Lopez family, Pico's parents, who were flown in by Aer Lingus this week, and then we have Leah, his wife, and Diego and her family, who had to fly USA private jet treatment that we would have covered in the preview. So we had Judie, Pico's mum, sort of a local celebrity now, or a big Cape Verdean celebrity, because in the hotel she was being approached by all sorts of fans and people for photos. The son of the Chinese ambassador, the Cape Verde ambassador to China, was a bit of a character, and all sorts of people. But we sat down with Judie, with Leah, Pico's wife, and Jacques, his brother, I guess just to reflect on what has been an incredible period in their lives, although initially, Judie was just speaking about the emotions of the evening.
Yeah, that game was something else. I don't think anybody could have imagined that it was possible that, Cape Verde would hold the current champions like they did. I mean, to come back twice against Argentina and Messi was just incredible. I mean, the atmosphere was tremendous, wasn't it? And it's like at the end, maybe Argentina won the match, but I think Cape Verde won the hearts and souls of so many people during this tournament. They've been brilliant, and they threw everything at them. They played till the very end of the game and maybe could have nicked it, but it just was an amazing performance, and it couldn't be more proud.
How are you feeling in those minutes in extra time? When it goes 2-all, what are the emotions at that stage?
Oh, I was barely able to keep myself standing, to be honest. I was just weak, and it's just every minute feels like an hour when you're going through it, and it's just your heart in your mouth for the whole time, and hoping and praying, and it's hard to describe, but it's something else.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I thought they did us all proud, and they couldn't have done any more than they did. And they showed that it is possible for small nations to achieve, and that they deserve their place to be there. They proved what is possible, and to come up, as I said before, against the champions and to perform the way they did. I think most people expected them to be crushed, but no. They played with such passion, and I'm lost for words, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Jacques, we were speaking there about I'm getting messages from home, pubs tonight, sort of house parties. I think there was a street party in Crumlin as well and stuff. The scenes when the goal went in. This was a moment. Have you got a sense of that? Sort of how big that was?
I said to the guys before you came back in that probably the best game I've seen before that in the World Cup has been Argentina versus France, and that was right up there in terms of tenacity, just endurance, outlasting your opponent. For 90 minutes we went unbeaten, so against the World Cup holders, and I think Cape Verde just gave the best account of themselves today, and realistically, what else could they have done? They tip or tap for them 90 minutes, and then they just fell short. But Argentina, they've got it done before. They know what it takes. I have to say, Cape Verde, all the lads just chipped in together. And you can see that on the pitch that they play for each other, and they play for the nation.
Yes.
Which is it's amazing. And even though we were few in numbers today, you can still hear us, you can still see us.
Yeah.
And
were you singing ole ole ole?
we were.
It was a great moment.
They have their own rendition of that as well, and look, the Argentinians at the end of the day, they took their hats off to us because they knew we were no mugs, and now the world knows who we are. And then thanks to this team, they put us on the map.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Irish people, obviously with Pico, obviously that's why a lot of people, but they can see the similarities between what Cape Verde is and what Ireland is as well.
Yes,
The people as well.
Yes, No, the support at home has been tremendous. They've really taken to the team, and I think having the Irish interest with Pico playing on the team has struck a chord at home. It's like Italia 90, for the people at home. They've had, as you say, house parties. Our neighbours have had a watch party on the green beside our house for the four matches now actually, and it's got bigger and bigger. And yeah, I'm glad that they provided a great game for everybody tonight. And I think you'll all agree that it was one of the great games. I mean, like the underdogs at the tournament against the champions, David and Goliath. I mean, it just keeps going. But like, yeah, they have to be so proud, you know, under the circumstances that they're leaving this tournament, that they came this far and went out 3-2 against the champion and held them for, you know, almost 110 minutes.
Like, how do you sum up like the last, I don't know what it is, 3 weeks of your life?
Feels like 3 months, doesn't it?
It feels like it's not real, to be honest. It's
true.
just, I feel like I'm watching my life happen in front of my eyes, and I'm actually not a part of it. Yeah, it's all so surreal. It's all very alien to me, you know, to like open social media and to see Pico's face every time I open it.
Yeah.
I see his face more now than when we actually live together. But look, I'm just so incredibly proud of him. I'm just really, really happy for him. He's put in years of blood, sweat and tears, and Judie, Jacques, like, you know the dedication he's had and the commitment, and I don't know, to see him tonight out there, it was really gorgeous for him. And yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks for us, but for him, I just couldn't be happier for him, really.
I know you had a bit of Aer Lingus for the first class. You had your first private jet.
Honestly,
Are you ever going to be able to go back to the...
yeah, I mean, family holidays will never be the same again, you know. Camper vans and private planes. Where'd you go from there?
Sorry, the absolute neck of me on a private jet. It was far from a private jet I was raised. My family is going to give me some stick when I go home now over this. I'll never ever live it down. That was the kindness of a total stranger. And do you know what? It kind of reminds me of the similarities of the Irish and the Cape Verdean people.
They're very generous, aren't they?
This was a random Irish man who wanted to look out for the Irish, and it just reminded me of the Cape Verdean people. We're two small nations, and they operate just like us. They look after each other, they mind each other, and their diaspora is so big, like the Irish, and no matter where you are in the world, they look out for one another. And I don't know, it's lovely that Cape Verde and Ireland have crossed paths in Pico, because there are two very, very similar nations come together in him, and it's lovely.
It's striking, like, seeing all the love on the social media posts, like, even say on like our channels or whatever from Cape Verdeans, like that is
worldwide.
You're sort of seeing
We
it,
met
like,
the Chinese, the Cape Verdean Chinese ambassador's son here this evening. I mean, we're best pals, and he was just so over the moon with the performance tonight and the whole journey and the tournament and the story, wasn't he? He was just absolutely thrilled, and like, he's lived most of his life in China, and he's married to an Italian now, so you know, it just shows you what can happen, you know, when nations meet.
How do you get back to normal life now? I mean, this is the thing.
We need to tone down the interviews to start. Back to school next Monday.
And I think I need to engage a media agent.
Are you actually in school on Monday now? Not Tuesday?
Yeah.
I mean, if we get back in time, I don't have going into work, because I won't be able to sleep anyway, so I might as well keep going. And I have been in work like 3 days this week already. Never in a million years did I expect to be back here in Miami for this match. But thanks to Aer Lingus and Norwich Newman for looking after us when we got here. Here we are, and like, I think we've paid them back in spades. You know?
And so is Pico.
Oh, of course. No, he has. Like, he's just given the whole country such a lift, and given us something to enjoy for the summer. It really is the story of the summer, and as I say, reminiscent of Italia 90 and what that did for the country.
Yeah, so there we go. That's it from the Cape Verde story. It's been incredible. Coming over here, I knew like the Pico was going to be a big story. I mean, it is like the first League of Ireland player to play in the World Cup. the first player to play in the competition, who was like spent all of his life living in Ireland, all of his football in Ireland. But that was almost a symbolic sense of just being involved, and it's a bit like the point I was making earlier is the fact that they really participated. They really acquitted themselves well. It wasn't just about a stamp on the passport or just being the first to do something. They went way above and beyond expectations and brought it all the way. And I think you'll agree. I think the family and the people around them have helped to bring it to life, I think. But yeah, it's been a journey, all right. But they're all going to have to make their way home and try and return to a version of normality. It's Seattle next for me, and I'm heading out to the West Coast as we continue our World Cup story here in the Irish Independent. Sean he was at Colombia, Ghana, and he's going to continue his travels as well. So I think it's going to be hard, I think, probably to reflect at the end of the competition and think of a bigger highlight than the Cape Verde story. And it's not just an Irish thing. I think globally people have latched on to them as well. It has been amazing. They acquit themselves brilliantly, but unfortunately it ends in a sort of a real sort of sense of mixed emotions and what could have been, but in time they'll remember what it was, and what it was pretty damn good.